Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy, guys. We got an extremely important video, guys. Really, man, this is a way to make trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. We are going to react to Stephen A. Smith's, predictions for the NBA Finals. Because what you essentially want to do is do the complete opposite of what Stephen A. Smith does. Because wasn't there like a period where he was literally wrong for like 8 years in a row or something like that? But I also want to give you guys my NBA Finals, predictions and stuff. 2 minutes because we got very exciting series. We got the Los Angeles Lakers against the Detroit Pistons. No, that's the Miami Heat. Although they do remind me of the 2004 Detroit Pistons. But yeah, before we check this out, one of my subscribers sent me this right here. This is an old video by Crispy Flakes. July 8th, 2019, so right before the season started, which seems like forever ago at this point, just because, well, obviously the season was delayed. But this was before the season started, and apparently I gave some sort of hot take about the Miami Heat. Let's be honest, guys. Nobody really had the Miami Heat going to the finals, probably except Heat fans. Like, Heat fans were probably the ones that believed in them the entire time. So we will see what I said right here. And I'm going to try to defend it, man, because, you can't really, attack somebody for not having the Heat in the finals. Nobody expected him to get that far unless you were a Heat fan. So, what did I say? It's just, the sooner you start that, the better. Next, we have the Miami Heat. So, Goran Dragic, who was not even supposed to be on that team. I thought he was traded to the Dallas Mavericks. Turns out he wasn't. Jimmy Butler, Justice Winslow, James Johnson, and Bam Adebayo. Well, first, we can already see the whole damn team is different because Justice and James are no longer on the team. They would not be in the finals if those guys were in the damn starting lineup. Jimmy Butler is going to be nice, but I've been saying it probably for the past year or two now that I don't think he's at the point in his NBA career where he can be the #1 option on your team and you're going to have great success out there. I just don't think he is that unless you have just like the most amazing supporting cast around him. And I mean, Winslow's nice. Which is 100% true. I think that statement, that is not a hot take. That is 100% true, man. Because while Jimmy Butler has been absolutely fantastic, like the man, you guys think he probably finals MVP? Or should I? Oh, I guess it depends on who does well in the finals, right? But no, like as great as Jimmy Butler has been, they would not be in this situation if it was not for the great play of the supporting cast. Like I said, man, like Bam Adebayo, I don't really say he's a supporting cast, he's like an all-star player, but Tyler Hero, 20-year-old rookie out of nowhere, man. Well, not out of nowhere, but, just really balling out of nowhere like that. Dropping, what was it, 37 points or whatever it was in a game. Goran Dragic has looked a bit like a damn, prime Phoenix Suns version of himself out there. So, Andre Iguodala, in the closeout game, knocked out all those threes. So I think that's a fair statement that as great as Jimmy Butler has been, it's really Duncan Robinson, man. Well, Kendrick Duncan's not really been playing all that much, but what those guys have done has been absolutely amazing. And a lot of that is a catalyst of because Jimmy Butler does make, those guys that much better because I really think, off the court, he probably, provides them with a lot of just like motivation and really just keeps them, in check and stuff like that. And that definitely has that dog mentality where it's just like, back against the wall, like, we're not going to back down. So I don't think that was an extremely hot take. I think that was pretty fair to say that the Heat, without a great supporting cast, would probably not be there. And it turns out they have a fantastic supporting cast. So, okay, let's see what Stephen A. Smith's got to say.
Nothing is official until Stephen A. Smith renders his judgment on an NBA contest. And before we get deep into the Heat going on forward, this is personal for you, is it not?
Why is it personal?
What's the background on that?
Well, it's a devastating blow. I mean, for my entire career covering the NBA, which spans nearly a quarter century, I have been clamoring for Miami and LA to be in the finals for obvious reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with basketball. Nevertheless, that is not what happened because even though they're in the NBA finals, the bottom line is everybody's in a bubble in Central Florida as opposed to South Beach or La. Hooray for the two teams.
Okay, but we got to celebrate.
But it doesn't do much for me.
Pretty good run by this.
Well, you go ahead and do that.
We need you.
Can somebody explain to me? I literally have no idea what he's talking about. Is there something that I'm just not thinking of? You guys let me know, man. I'm genuinely actually curious and confused. So you guys let me know, please.
To join in a bit, as we mentioned earlier in the show, this team was 75-1 to win the whole thing. You wanted it for different reasons, but when did you start to believe in the Miami Heat? They just seem to get better and better and better.
Well, watching them go up against the Greek Freak and the Milwaukee Bucks and the way they ran them out of the gym, the reality of the situation is that they clearly
Even the Pacers sweeping them.
Recognize that when they're hitting perimeter shots, they can beat anybody. We know about the leadership of Jimmy Butler, how he's a dog. Make no mistake about it. We see the agility of the athleticism of a Bam Adebayo. But when you look at Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, certainly I'm not comparing them to Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. But in terms of these guys and their ability to shoot the basketball and to really go get it, when you see a guard tandem, the way that they're capable of playing together and what they're capable of doing from the perimeter, if they give you the kind of production that Tyler Hero gave you in Game 4 when he dropped 37, a guy like Duncan Robinson tonight,
I really hope he doesn't say the Heat, because that's my prediction, man. Okay, let me give you my prediction before we watch more of Stephen A. Smith right here, guys, because I don't want him to steal my takes, okay? So, I do think the Miami Heat are going to win the NBA Finals. And the reason I say this is just because I look at the matchups. Okay, Bam Adebayo against Anthony Davis, that is going to be one hell of a matchup to watch. Now, obviously, out of the two of those, Anthony Davis is the better player, but I still think Bam Adebayo is not going to be, he's going to make AD work on defense and stuff, man, like big time, right? And even like offensively, Bam, he's a really solid player that can do a lot of different things out there. But then the matchup I get kind of most intrigued by is LeBron James on Jimmy Butler, because LeBron James, obviously not as good defensively as he once was, but, still like LeBron can be the best defender on the court if he really wants to be. But the thing is that that's going to be kind of like rendered useless against Jimmy Butler, because Jimmy Butler is completely okay with having like 12 points and like 6 assists and like 7 rebounds and like everybody else around him get it done. Like he's not going to be somebody as opposed to maybe like I don't know, man, insert any superstar that might get frustrated by being claimed up by LeBron for a 7-game series. Jimmy Butler, like, that's not going to bother him. And even defensively, him on LeBron, like, he's going to be in LeBron's head. Like, he's going to be all open the entire time. Pause. And it's going to be really interesting to see how that dynamic kind of plays out. So then you get rid of those two matchups. You look at everything else, man. I don't really see, like, I don't know, man. Like, for one, I don't really see the Lakers running a lot of big man lineups. I think you're going to see a lot of AD probably at the center position just because, Jay Crowder on the perimeter, or sometimes they put like Iguodala on the perimeter or whatever at the 4 spots. That's not going to work. Well, like for the Lakers, have Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee on the court. So I think we're going to see, I don't really think we're going to see too much of them. As far as the shooting goes, like the guards for the Lakers, I mean, they're fine. Like Danny Green, KCP, Rondo, they're fine. But the way Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Goran Dragic's been playing have literally been like all-star levels nearly, man. Like, well, at least Goran Dragic and Tyler Hero. Duncan's been really nice, but I want to say all-star level. But I mean, like, if those guys are knocking down their perimeter shots, it's just a GG if you ask me. Like, I don't know, man. Just something about this Miami Heat team feels special. I'm going to say it's going to be a 7-game series, and I think the Heat pull it off in the end, man. Now, as far as who I want to win, well, I've been rooting for the Heat just because I always like myself a good underdog story. Now, if the Lakers do win, I'm not going to be like upset because, the Lakers, I like LeBron James, nothing against them. Anthony Davis is cool, deserves a championship, I would say. Kyle Kuzma, JaVale McGee, both guys out of Michigan. So it's just more like a gut feeling. I have a gut feeling that the Miami Heat, there's just something so special about this team that definitely not going to catch the Lakers off guard, so they're going to play the top of their game and stuff. But also, I feel like just like the comforts of the bubble probably is going to help too, just because I would not really expect Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, all those young bloods out there, to be playing this great if it was under normal circumstances. I know, like, obviously there's still mental capacities that go with playing the bubble and everything, man. But I just feel like not having like all the fans there, not seeing that spotlight, like that's what this bubble has been all about. It's taken away all the other X factors and strictly, this is basketball, this is who's on your team, this is who the better team is. So, it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting.
Drops 5 3-pointers, hits 5 of 7 shots from the 5 of 7 shots from 3-point range. When they're doing those kind of things, you can't count them out against anybody, particularly in today's NBA. So they put everybody on notice when they were Ramrod and the Milwaukee Bucks, who were the number 1 seed, that they were here. And defensive
team, I believe, weren't they?
I picked them to beat Boston in 7 games, not 6. but it's because of their moxie, their athleticism, the dog inside of their chest, the way they go after it, and the fact that the matter is they're deep and they play together, and that's why they're going to the NBA Finals. Now they're about to run into King James. We'll see what happens.
Coach Bolster runs the show, but as John pointed out in his interview with Bam, there's something about this team where it's like the DNA of Pat Riley, right? It kind of goes down from him, his ethic and everything he did in his coaching.
How much championships?
Work.
How many rings does Pat Riley have? Like between like winning championships and or like coaching them, I should say, being like GM and stuff. How many does he have?
That's number one.
Got to be like $1 billion
you
at this
can't
point.
have any kind of fear or fright inside of you. If you've got that kind of mentality, you can't play for Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra. They're simply not going to tolerate it. There's a standard that they've set from the days of Alonzo Mourning with Tim Hardaway.
Yeah, it's what I really respect about that team.
Shaq and Alonzo, right on up to D. Wade, LeBron, and Chris Bosh. You've got to have ability, but you also have to have heart. You can't have any fear for anybody. And if you recall, there was some reticence on the part of LeBron James when he had first arrived in Miami because he was a bit reluctant to take the proverbial bull by the horn until they lost in the finals to Dallas. And D. Wade says, this has to be your team. And then LeBron James came back on a mission and just showed the world.
Had like the greatest season of his career.
And ever since then, he's never been the same. He's going to be on the Mount Rushmore of basketball when all is said and done. As far as I'm concerned, he's already there. But when you look at the Miami Heat in terms of their culture, they're about championships and they're about doing it the old-fashioned way. Nobody's going to outwork us. Nobody's going to scare us. Nobody is going to sit up there and punk us.
Yep, that's 2004 Piston vibes.
At any particular
for sure.
moment in time. And if you're not that kind of guy made from that cloth, you simply can't play in South Beach for Pat Riley. That's the guy. That's the kind of mentality that he has, which is why it was easy for Dwayne Wade to sit up there and tell a guy like Pat Riley, excuse me, this dude, Jimmy Butler, that's with the Philadelphia 76ers right now.
Go get him.
Not only do you take him away from Philadelphia, from Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, but you bring him here in South Beach with these brothers that you got on this squad, you could very well be in the NBA Finals, and that's exactly where they are right now.
Everything you just said suggests that those laying the line on this next series are dead wrong. They're 3+1 underdogs to take on the Lakers. I think you like their chances better than that.
Well, I like their chances, but I'm not saying it's better than that. Let's not get a little bit beside ourselves here. They got to go up against LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I love Bam Adebayo. He was critical of himself after the Game 5 loss. Came out here and played lights out tonight with 32 and 14, a career high of 32. We saw what Jimmy Butler did in terms of chipping in his 22. We saw Tyler Hero come out and hit a three and ultimately score 19 points. We saw Duncan Robinson be the specialist that he is. But you're going up against a Los Angeles Lakers squad that does have an elite defense with serviceable parts capable of hitting three-point shots. You've got a guy in Rajon Rondo, who's also a champion and has been playing stellar basketball.
That is going to be pretty huge having Rondo, out there.
The best duo in
knows
basketball.
What to do.
In LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They're supposed to be the favorites. Miami is not supposed to beat them. And as far as I'm concerned, the great chance that Miami has is that all the odds are stacked against them, and appropriately so. Because
that's how I feel like they got here, without having the odds against them. It just kind of proved everybody wrong, right? So, if you're a Heat fan or the Miami Heat in general, like the odds don't even matter to you at this point because this entire playoffs, the odds have been against you. So.
There's no way in hell that they're supposed to beat LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
There was no way they were supposed to be honest, but here we are.
Show up and close this deal. That's why they're the favorites. That's why that's that expectation. And that's why if they don't get it done, we're going to be looking at them with a proverbial eye raising of our eyebrow and saying, what the hell happened to y'all? It's really that simple. The Lakers deserve to be the favorites. Miami can't be summarily dismissed, but let's not expect Miami to win the series. Let's expect them to make it a series, sort of 6 games, even possibly 7. But when all is said and done, it's supposed to be King James being crowned.
I don't know, like even when it comes from the playoffs, and like the route to the finals, I still feel like the Miami Heat, despite them getting it done, like they had like the damn toughest just route to the finals. I mean, first of all, you had to deal with damn TJ Bubble Warren, which obviously they made quick work of that. He had to deal with Giannis. Obviously, Giannis' injury did play a factor, but the Heat were beating them down anyway. And then the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum, Kemba, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, an extremely good depth team. Well, pretty good depth, I would say. I think the Celtics definitely have a few things they got to work on with their depth. But, in the Miami Heat time, man, they just proving people wrong. So I'm excited for the finals, guys. It's going to be good. I might actually have to miss the first game because I am helping my brother move, out of Chicago. So, yeah, guys, what do you all think? Give me your predictions in the comment section below. I see it going to 7 games, but I think the Heat win it, guys. I think the Heat win it.